Hey everyone, it's Dr. Naomi Wolf, not a medical doctor, doctor of poetry. And I'm here today actually celebrating the week of my 61st birthday. That's hard to say. Um, with a departure from our usual hard-hitting political and social commentary and reporting at Daily Clout. And this is actually due to a number of requests that I've had from our community. And it's something I take very seriously. And it is about beauty and wellness treatments that are not pharmaceutically based and not from giant corporations and don't have horrible ingredients in them. Again, I'm not a medical doctor. This is just my description of my own experience. But enough people have asked me about alternative and traditional treatments that I thought I should share what I know. So, and also, we're in tough financial times, and traditional beauty treatments and skin and hair treatments, traditional wellness tonics and treatments are much less expensive than this stuff manufactured by the giant corporations with what can be questionable or misleading ingredients. This actually isn't really a departure for me, but a return, because I started my career, as some of you may know, as the author of The Beauty Myth. And I was like a baby writer at that time. I was in my early 20s, but I was very interested in the influence that beauty manufacturers, corporate manufacturers, had on women's culture, and especially women's magazines, which were very big at the time, and on how women thought about themselves and about their own beauty and appearance, fears of aging, fears of not being perfect. And I looked into these, especially skincare products, and I'm so glad I did at that early time in my life, because I found that many of them were making false claims. They were claiming to erase age, erase wrinkles, to penetrate the epidermis, and something has to be regulated by the FDA to penetrate the layer of the skin. So that was just total nonsense. And it also had the side effect, because the images that they showed with these anti-aging products were so, insanely youthful and kind of airbrushed and perfect. They made women afraid to get older. They made women have very unrealistic beauty standards that made them feel bad about themselves, which, as I explained in The Beauty Myth, had gigantic political repercussions, because if people aren't confident in their own life and body, they're disempowered. So all of these things have circled around, and I just want to talk about a few skin and hair treatments that I actually know about. The way I knew that COVID directives were nonsense, as I've explained elsewhere, was from having read 400 years of novels, diaries, and memoirs in English, in which I knew perfectly well that staying indoors and separated from one another was not going to stop a respiratory virus uh, in any definitive way, and that crowding people together in indoors, multi-generational households without worrying about nutrition or exercise or ventilation was also deadly. I knew that from reading Jane Austen, and the Brontes. So by the same token, there are many beauty treatments, skin and hair treatments, that women have used in the West before the rise of post-World War II global corporations like L'Oreal or Elizabeth Arden. Um, and they've worked for them. I was always curious, what is the effect of this? And when you read old recipe books, often, or old housekeeping books from the 19th century, even all the way back to the 18th century, they often don't just have food recipes, which are really interesting, but they also have like soap making recipes, housekeeping tips, and skin and hair recipes and treatments. So I'll just walk you through some of these because I use them myself. I don't use pharmaceutical kind of products that are supposed to, erase age or whatever. And I'm happy with how they work. So again, no one's paying me to endorse this. This is just my own observation. So one of the things that women in the 19th century frequently talk about is glycerin. And this is a brand called Africare. I'm actually staying right now in a predominantly Caribbean part of Brooklyn. And so that's very fortunate for a lot of reasons. One is that the food is phenomenal. But one of the many wonderful things about staying in a Caribbean community is that you can find products like Africare, which is a very unmediated, unprocessed looking glycerin product. And it looks like it literally just has glycerin. And it's manufactured by Cocoa Care Products out of Dover, New Jersey. So it's an American brand. And it just says, for best results, massage on skin and hair. A few drops of your favorite fragrance will give you a personalized after bath conditioner. So glycerin is a really simple product. Obviously don't ingest it, but women have used it, for as long as there's been English literature, to condition their skin and hair and to create a protective kind of moisture barrier. And I have to say, I'm not wearing any foundation right now. I'm wearing eye makeup, but I'm not wearing foundation. And I tried glycerin last night. I mixed it with something else I'll be talking about, which is Lanoline. But I'm very, it makes your skin feel very comfortable. Sometimes, especially when we're older, you can have that kind of feeling of tightness and dryness. And this stuff really makes your skin feel comfortable, and you can feel like that it sort of creates a dewy layer, a protective layer. This is something called vitamin E gel, also by Cocoa Care. It's an antioxidant. And again, we all know that vitamin E is really good for our skin, inside and outside. Vitamin E helps with healthy skin and nails, and hair. So this is fun. And it's got a mixture of various ingredients, including chamomile, rosemary, horsetail, henna, so not traditional CVS ingredients. So if you read diaries and journals of women in the 19th century, a traditional toner for their skin is glycerin and rose water. And it smells wonderful. And this is a brand called Boot Export Limited, which seems to be kind of pirating the Boots label. I'm not endorsing that, but it's not Boots, it's Boot. And it says Boot Rose Water. And again, I bought it here in Brooklyn at a local pharmacy. And it's just marvelous smelling. And it's basically glycerin, a little alcohol, and rose water or rose scent. And so it's just kind of an easy way to get glycerin onto your skin. The other thing I want to tell you about is Lanoline. And again, I stumbled on Lanoline in my 20s when I was researching the beauty myth, researching all these horribly overpriced, fibbing, fraudulent skincare products that Madison Avenue was promoting to women's detriment and ripping them off financially. And I was in Australia, and Australia is a big sheep producing country. So they've got lots of sheep byproducts like wool, of course, mutton, obviously, lamb to eat, but they also produce lanolin. So and there were these lanolin creams for sale everywhere in the airport. I hadn't really seen them before in such a pure form. So I tried some, and I have to say I was very persuaded by lanolin cream, because what is lanolin? Again, it's something women have used traditionally before the 20th century, before petroleum-based modern pharmaceutical beauty products and skincare products, which sometimes have ingredients that aren't so good for us. And that can be estrogen disruptors or hormone disruptors, for example. So lanolin is totally natural. And the reason I was intrigued by it, looking into the kind of chemical construction of all of these bad corporate skincare products, is that it actually serves a practical purpose for the sheep. And the practical purpose it serves for the sheep is it coats the wool of the sheep so that when it rains on the sheep, the wool does not get sodden and heavy, and the poor sheep is like waterproofed from the wool absorbing all that water. So it actually creates a moisture barrier. And so you will find, if you buy some lanolin, and you can get it for like $8 at the health food store, that it smells horrible. By the way, it smells like sheep, I'm warning you. But if you get some lanolin and you just dab a little bit on your skin at night, you don't want to walk around with it during the day because it's sticky and oily and smelly. But put it on at night. I hope your partner is supportive or tolerant, or mix it with a little of the other of your usual skincare creams to kind of minimize the oiliness and the stickiness. You will find that you'll wake up with really dewy skin because there's this actual moisture barrier between your skin and the outside world. So I really, I've been using lanolin for years. I really recommend it. And it makes your skin feel very comfortable. Again, I cannot vouch for the smell. It's appalling, but a small price to pay for feeling very comfortable in your skin. Now I'm going to move on. Let me see if there are any questions. I'm a little bit shy doing this segment because I've never done a, skincare, hair care, traditional treatments segment, or a traditional supplements and tonics segment. But again, I'm not going to apologize. A lot of us are trying to wean ourselves off of corporate everything. We don't trust them anymore, nor should we. And we want to save our money. So that's why I think this is really well worth doing. And something else I'm going to talk about is women in the 19th century referred to their hair. Hair was really important. Beautiful long hair was very important in the 19th century. And women brushed their hair 100, or their maids, if they were privileged, brushed their hair 100 strokes of the hairbrush a night. And women would take photographs of their hair, beautiful hair growing down to their knees. Well, how do you do that, right? The products that we buy for hair care often have ingredients in them that strip the hair of oils and moisture. And women, of course, in the 19th century were not using these kinds of shampoos. So they weren't having this artificial cycle of stripping their hair of moisture and then adding it back in with conditioners and serums and pomades and treatments, right? So this is a really interesting brush I found yesterday. I'm just showing you the box. And I'm excited about it. It's 100% natural boar bristles. It says it's clearly not 100% natural boar bristles, but it's a detangling brush. And the shape of this is more like the kinds of brushes with wide kind of channels that women used in the 19th century. So I thought I'd give it a try, and it actually feels wonderful to brush your hair with this. You'll want to brush 100 strokes a day. It's not uncomfortable at all. And it really does detangle and allows your hair to kind of be healthy in the way that 19th century women who looked after their hair wanted their hair to be healthy. Now I'm going to talk about energy and wellness alternative I don't want to say treatments because I don't want to get sued or arrested by the FDA, but people have been using natural sources for wellness and energy and to regulate their health and balance their health, obviously for millennia, for as long as there have been human beings. So I went to find some local traditional treatments, and I found some things that are really interesting. This is moringa bitters. So moringa bitters is a traditional tonic used in Africa and Asia and in the Caribbean nations. This is, I guess, a famous brand, GT Moringa Bitters. And it's useful in many diseases. And I checked this, the label conforms with what's on sites that are pretty credible that evaluate supplements and tonics and so on. even with the bias that these sites tend to have against natural remedies or traditional remedies, they confirm that there is evidence that it can be helpful. I'm not going to say it can cure anything. I don't have any knowledge of that. I'm just telling you what it's traditionally used for. To diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, constipation, piles, menstrual disorders, prostate problems, inflammation, anemia, poor blood circulation, and poor digestive health. And on sites like Medical News Today, they do confirm that that tonics such as these, there is some evidence that they help with at least circulation and inflammation. And since so many of the illnesses that people are dealing with, especially after this horrific injection, have to do with circulation and blood clots, and the blood not being, the circulatory system being damaged, I think it can't hurt to supplement with something traditional like moringa bitters that has traditionally been used to support healthy circulation. And since so many of the diseases we've seen from the injections are inflammatory, it can't hurt, I think, to try something with an anti-inflammatory reputed properties. I'm being very careful about how I say all of this because, again, I'm not a medical doctor. The research behind all of these claims, you should check it for yourself, is provisional. But I've always been very interested in pre-industrial cultures and what they use for medicine and for just general health maintenance, because my analysis is if these traditional treatments, some of them, right, didn't have some value, people wouldn't go ahead and keep using them and producing them and recommending them to others in more traditional societies. And moringa bitters have been used all the way back to pre-industrial times, to before the, again, petroleum-based pharmaceutical complex was established. This is black seed oil, and this is super disgusting to ingest. You do take it by the teaspoonful, and I'm sorry, take one teaspoon 1 to 2 times a day, or as directed by your healthcare professional. And this too can also be used topically. Really interesting to see treatments that can be used internally and treatments that can be used internally and topically. So black seed oil was recommended to me by one of these traditional healing or health support, I should say, outlets here in this part of Brooklyn, which is very influenced by African and Caribbean healing traditions. And when I looked up black seed oil, it really does have incredible benefits, according to Med Shadow Foundation and other kind of alternative to medical sites. And so some of the things it's used for, it's called Nigella sativa. And, some of you who hang out in health food stores may be aware of that. But it's supposed to be helpful for respiratory issues, digestive problems, and skin conditions. It also has hair and skin benefits. It's supposed to benefit weight loss and boost metabolism. And it's supposed to be good for immune support. And again, it's a blood thinner. So you want to be very careful, not take doses beyond what's recommended, because in rat trials, too much was found to cause liver and kidney damage. But obviously talk to your doctor, get a doctor you trust, talk to your doctor. Black seed oil does interact with some pharmaceutical drugs. So check medshadow.org and other sites before you use it if you're on other pharmaceutical drugs like SSRIs or sleep drugs. There's a list here, but it is anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. It's got antimicrobial properties, which is important because our food supply is getting disgusting and people are getting a lot of food poisoning. And I think with so many kids having respiratory problems, allergies, asthma, it is well worth investigating and seeing for yourself. Now, do I have time for one or two more? How are we doing with comments? Okay, let's see. No comments yet, so I'll just keep going. Tiger nuts. Tiger nuts, also an African Caribbean supplement or remedy. They're kind of interesting looking. They're not actually a nut. They're apparently a tuber, but you put them in boiling water and soak them for a few days. And then you can grind them up and add them to smoothies. And tiger nuts are supposed to be very good for, let's see, I'm looking at Healthline. They're antioxidant, they aid digestion, they may reduce blood sugar levels. So if you've got like a diabetic or pre-diabetic condition or hypoglycemia, they could help stabilize your blood sugar. They may improve heart health, may boost your immune system and help fight infections, may act as an aphrodisiac. Apparently, that's how they're used in societies that have used them traditionally. So you can mix them in with nuts and dried fruit. They can be ground and used in bread or other baked goods. And ground tiger nuts are a great gluten-free replacement for flour or binder in veggie burgers. Apparently in Spain, they're used for horchata de chufa, and they can be added to your yogurt or your ice cream. So I'm looking forward to trying these. I'll let you know how that goes. And the last thing I want to share with you, now we're really kind of far away from the Western medical tradition, is I want to share with you the kola nut. So these are the famous kola nuts that are chewed in many African countries, and I'm going to guess Caribbean countries, because a lot of Caribbean cuisine and alternative medicine is influenced, of course, by African traditions. And this is the kola nut that gave its name to Coca-Cola and was was the reference in Coca-Cola. So what you're supposed to do is peel these, peel the brown part off like that, and then nibble it. And again, it tastes horrible. It gets less horrible tasting, less bitter tasting as you chew. I've only chewed a tiny little bit because I, of course, was afraid of poisoning myself for an overreaction. But it's got caffeine in it and it's got other ingredients. So it's a stimulant. It's a traditional stimulant. And it actually did, even that tiny little bit was kind of, I don't want to say too powerful, but even that tiny little bit made me feel like I'd had a cup of coffee or two before bedtime. So definitely go easy, see how you do. But in addition to caffeine, it's got other health benefits, according to Medical News Today. It is a boost to metabolism, an aid to digestion. It's supposed to promote the production of gastric acid, which increases digestive enzyme effectiveness in the stomach. It's supposed to increase circulation. It's got theobromine as well as caffeine. Again, be careful. This can speed up the heart rate, which can increase circulation. And it's supposed to boost your energy levels. And this also has antibacterial benefits, according to one study in Journal of Biosciences and Medicines. So there's some indication that use of kola nut extract might stop the growth of harmful bacteria. There's some conditions that may be helped by kola nuts: prostate cancer, slow metabolism, as mentioned, migraines, again, asthma. And it's sometimes used in ceremonies and rituals in certain African countries. And it's sometimes added to energy drinks, of course. So I'm just saying, be really careful with this. Go easy. And as always, I should say, consult a doctor that you really trust before you try anything, especially anything with actual effects. But in a time, again, of circulation damage and other kinds of damage, and inflammatory damage, it did seem exciting and cool to find these alternative ways to supplement your health. That's it for me. Thank you. Let me know if this is the kind of thing you want Daily Clout to cover from time to time. Again, we've launched something called Liberty Lifestyle, about bringing you ideas, products, practices that help you get off the grid, save money, be more self-sustaining, be healthy, stay out of the arms of hospitals and doctors, feel well, feel good about yourself. So thank you. And I appreciate you. And please continue to support Daily Clout. It's especially important now because we've got a new election integrity draft bill awareness campaign we're launching. We've only got 11 months till the election, or nearly 12, but we've got to get going to pass it in all 50 states and federally before the 2024 election. And we need your help. And as always, this is Naomi Wolf. My new book, Facing the Beast: Courage, Faith, and Resistance in a Dark Age, is out today. And I'm very happy to be talking to you. Let me know what you think about features like this. Take care. Bye-bye.